This video has an ad for HelloFresh.
We're Jaimie and Jay, and this is the crawling hand from Spirit Halloween. We're gonna try and turn it into Thing from the new Wednesday show.
The movement is pretty good, but it looks...
Like, seriously, what are these green lines?
But the good news is all we need is the animatronic inside because we're gonna make an entirely new skin for it.
First though, let's open this thing up and see what lies beneath.
Open this thing up.
There you go.
Ooh, so that... Okay,
that's your
hold
power.
That.
Don't rip, don't rip.
Oh. Oh. Look at that. That's cool.
Why is the hand sculpted underneath?
That's so classic Spirit Halloween.
This actually has knuckles, like...
It literally has veins and tendons sculpted into the hand. You could just paint this and have a better thing to sell.
Well, now what do we do with it?
So we've been doing some R&D trying to figure out how to do this. And our first thought was to 3D print a hand and then use that to make a mold, which we did. We found an amazing model that we'll link below, but unfortunately the proportions of this don't match the mechanical hand, so that's not gonna work. We're basically left now with sculpting, I don't know, a whole hand from scratch, which seems really intimidating.
Hands are complicated enough shapes as is, but trying to sculpt a hand that matches the proportions of the mechanical hand exactly so that the glove fits is just hard.
Well, we had to call in some help.
We called our buddy Marcus, who's a professional prop maker here in Austin, and he convinced us that the best way to go about this is to sculpt the hand. But we don't have to sculpt the whole hand, which is great. All we have to do is cover this in a super thin layer of clay and then sculpt all of our details and stuff on top of that. That way we don't have to worry about sculpting a hand from scratch and trying to make it match the proportions because it's already gonna match the proportions. It's genius. First thing I'm gonna do to prep the hand for sculpting on it is cover up all of the gaps and stuff with some blue tape because we don't want clay getting inside the workings of it. It's got these big gaps here where the fingers move, so I'm gonna stuff those with some Kleenex first and then tape over those. We also took the batteries out so we don't accidentally press the button while we're working on it and have it all, that would be bad.
So this is modeling clay. It's non-drying oil-based plastilina. Basically it never dries, so it's good to model with. It's really never dry.
Ever.
Like, could you just leave this like in the desert for like 100 years?
It would probably melt before it dried.
But we need it to be in like really thin chunks. So to do that, we found this trick online to use a pasta roller to actually roll out sheets of clay, which we've never tried before. But it looked really cool on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which means it'll be easy, right?
Clay pasta.
All right, so let's cut off a chunk.
Okay. Excuse me, cat.
I'll hold it down.
Okay.
Are you serious?
The handle's too long.
The handle's too long?
Put it on.
You have to like hold it off the edge of the table or something?
Yeah.
Here. How about that?
Okay. Well, it's not the prettiest, but it's mostly uniform.
Did we do it right? Should we like roll it again or something?
Is it better or worse?
It's worse. That is not as good as it looked in the YouTube video. If the pasta roller doesn't work, we can just use a rolling pin.
Okay. Speaking of cooking, Thing, a hand please. Do you tire of the monotony of fast food and takeout? Do you stare into the cold, dark abyss of your refrigerator, searching for inspiration? What if I were to tell you that you could partake in meals fit for an Addams in the comfort of your own abode? HelloFresh, the savior of your gastronomic woes, is here to lend a hand. HelloFresh's subscription meal service single-handedly takes the hassle out of grocery shopping and meal planning. And it helps you take control of your time and budget with delicious recipes hand-delivered right to your door. It's a new year and HelloFresh can help you get a grip on your eating goals with over 35 weekly delicious recipes. They've got calorie and carb-smart options and the handy ability to customize your meals by switching or upgrading sides and proteins. For me, I love their fast and fresh meals because they can be made in under 15 minutes. Plus, you can stock up on hand-selected sides, desserts, breakfasts, and more with their HelloFresh Market. We love it. Highly recommend you guys check it out. Go to HelloFresh.com and use the code WickedMakers21 for 21 free meals plus shipping. This is delicious. I'm sorry you don't have a mouth. More for me.
We figured it out.
First, you can't use your clay straight out of the package. You have to knead it a little bit. To do that, you want to heat it up in the microwave for a little bit, and then it makes it soft and pliable. It also makes it a little bit more sticky.
So the second problem was it was sticking to the roller and basically just tearing itself apart. So wax paper. Basically, you could just put it inside the wax paper like this, stick this in here.
Roll it through. There we go.
And voila.
Beautiful. Okay, we made all the strips. I think this is enough clay. This is like a whole block. So I think what I'm gonna do is cut this into smaller strips. That way it's a little bit easier to work with them. I made a hand. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. The clay seems to come together well, and for the most part, it's sticking inside here. Now it's time to put all the detail in the hand. We're gonna do 2 stages for that. First stage is like all the big forms, so your folds, your fingernails, your tendons, and sutures and scars and things like that. Once all the big shapes are done, we'll go back in and add some nice skin texture. This is going surprisingly well so far. It's been a long time since I've sculpted something like this, and so far so good. The 3D print has actually come in super handy as a reference because I can turn it around and see all the different angles. So I'm actually really glad we printed that. Now that I'm through all the big stuff, we're gonna move on to the little itty bitty details. All right, everything's looking great, so we're ready to do the skin texture. One of the things I'm gonna do is put a piece of plastic over the hand and then sculpt in my texture with that. And what that does is let you carve in all of those little wrinkles and pores and things without getting all the little clay crumbly doodad things. So that's why you don't have them. So a little bit of cross-hatching lines and some dots for pores, and we'll be ready to go.
Jaimie.
It's done. I wasn't sure we could sculpt a hand, and it really helped that we actually had a hand to sculpt the hand on top of, but it turned out great. I'm so happy with it. I'm a little afraid to mold it now because I don't want to destroy it.
So we have the clay. The next thing is what?
Next step is we're going to do a mold. And it sounds really complicated. So we convinced our friend Marcus to actually come in and help us out.
Hey.
Marcus, hey. Thank you so much for coming.
You're very welcome.
We've never had a guest on the show before. I'm very excited. So you two used to work together at Rooster Teeth,
Yes,
right?
yeah, for 8 years I was a production designer over at Rooster Teeth, and essentially my job is to figure out the visual look for everything that we do that's on camera.
So anything you've ever seen at Rooster Teeth that looks cool, he's responsible.
And you've made a ton of props before that, right?
Yes, Spy Kids, Sin City, Predators, some fairly big movies.
Suffice to say, you know what you're doing. So for this, I understand that we're gonna use like a plaster essentially to make a mold. But I also understand that we've chosen like the hardest possible shape.
Yeah, I mean, this has so many literal appendages that, you know, all these little parts have to be accounted for and have a seam line so that we can do this with it. So it's a complicated shape, yes.
What are the chances that this doesn't work at all?
I think we can probably work out even the biggest of problems. If y'all had done this on your own without me, I think there's still a pretty, 90% chance you probably could have done it.
High
and you may have
confidence.
had some issues, but like, y'all are pretty sharp. I feel like you would have figured it out.
Either way though, I'm glad you're here.
So the general idea is we've got like this other kind of clay. This is just regular water clay, right? And because we're gonna pour the plaster into this 2-part mold, we have to create like a dam essentially, right?
Yeah, we have to basically prevent the liquid from going the places that we don't want it. The other tip is we are going to use saran wrap to kind of get us into the neighborhood so that when we're pressing our piece into it, we're not actually like adhering any water clay or ruining any of our sculpted.
Oh, right. You have this super fine detail and you
Right.
don't want to push the other clay into this clay.
Right.
Because it'll get all screwed up.
Okay, so this is pretty close to where we would need to be. The idea is that we have pressed in clay all around. We're gonna peel the saran wrap back and we're gonna press them in for good. And the idea is that we just wanna push the clay up to a certain point here, right along the edge of the detail. We need to create a kind of a watertight seal. So what we're gonna do is very carefully just push clay into the spot that we need it.
We need to make sure that the clay is roughly like halfway up the fingers, right? Okay.
Yes, yeah, the idea is that you would wanna split the object you're molding in at the 50% mark because we want both halves to pull away from the shape easily. If you go too far, then it kind of locks in a piece and it can't
Right.
pull out anymore. The more time and effort you put into this step, the nicer your mold will be and the nicer your castings come out.
So we tipped it on its side and used a Sharpie to basically just make these little divots in it. And that's gonna serve as like a, what's called a key, so that when we have the other side of the mold, they'll fit together, right?
That's right.
Like a
It's
puzzle.
Yeah, like a puzzle piece. Okay, we did it. We've got the plaster mixed, we've got the walls made, we've got the clay on, we're ready to go. The type of plaster we're using is called Hydrocal, and we found an absolutely awesome video from a channel called Brick in the Yard. There's just like endless tutorials on how to do this stuff. We'll put a link to it in the description below. This is looking great.
Yeah.
At this point, we basically have to wait for this to dry, and then we can do the other side. Okay, so the mold has hardened and it weighs like, it's pretty heavy.
I bet it weighs at least 30 pounds.
The next thing we gotta do is make the other half of the mold, but first we have to take all of this clay out of it without damaging the hand, right?
Correct. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy. This is great.
Yeah, and then all of the residual water clay that's kind of on here, do we just...
Yeah, we're gonna brush it with a wet brush and it's just gonna dissolve and the oil clay will be left behind.
This is still, to me, the most nerve-wracking part.
Yeah,
Because it's together
because
now.
all of your hard work is buried inside this thing. There's no way. I mean, we probably could have figured this out if Marcus wasn't here, but
It would have taken like 2 days, though.
You'd have gotten
yeah,
it.
I'm nowhere near as intimidated by this whole process as I was when we started. So you're a good teacher, man.
Oh, well,
that's
thank
why
you.
you had a show called Master and Apprentice, because you were like teaching everybody how to do it. So thanks a lot
Hey,
for your
you're
help.
very welcome.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah, thank
everybody
you
else
so much.
appreciates
No
it
problem. Exciting. All right, bye y'all.
Several hours later, moment of truth time.
too. Now that Marcus is gone, I'm like, we're definitely gonna break this
Is the
somehow.
fear back?
Maybe.
So the best way he said to get this open was with a screwdriver, and we just pry it open.
Yeah.
It sounds super... All right.
Oh, is that?
Did something pop? Maybe?
Oh, it's working.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's really.
I mean, like, what if we push? Like, push the hand.
Oh,
Is it doing something?
it's finally working.
In the battery? Oh.
Please don't break.
Oh my God. Oh.
Woo!
Oh my God, there's like the biggest crack all the way down. That's a big giant crack there.
We can totally fix it.
Okay.
This one looks completely fine. So I think all we gotta do is mix up a little plaster, just patch up the little cracks. Nothing broke all the way. And then we gotta let this dry overnight. And then if all goes well, we can make a latex glove tomorrow. Good job.
We cleaned the molds up and I think they're ready to go. So what happened?
When we made the mold, we were going pretty fast and we made some mistakes. We had some overhangs. So this was kind of like stuck in there. So when we pulled it apart, this actually split open a little bit. So what I had to do was Dremel off the overhang, and then it goes back together.
Like a glove.
But you know what? If we hadn't made those mistakes, I don't think I would have learned half as much as I did.
Right, all those mistakes are just big learning experiences. Now we know not to do overhangs. Now we know to make the edge better. Like, we know so much more now. So the next time, it'll be great. Okay.
I think that's a little too big for you. I think we're ready to go. We got it all strapped together just using some ratchet straps, and that's so it doesn't like come apart. And we use some of that wet clay to just kind of stuff it in the cracks so that it doesn't leak, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And now that that's ready to go, we're gonna use this stuff, which is mask latex.
We're gonna take the latex and we're gonna fill up the whole mold, and then we're gonna let it sit for around 30 minutes and then pour it all out.
So the longer it sits in there, the thicker the result will be, right? So for something like this, which is like ultra thin latex glove, you would just leave it in there for like a short period of time. But for something like, maybe a mask or something like that, you might leave it in there for quite a bit longer because you want it to be thicker. But when you hit that target thickness, you then dump it back out. At least that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It's been just about 24 hours and we're pretty sure it's dry. Is that just baby powder?
Yeah, powder inside of it. That way nothing like sticks to itself in there. I don't know how much to use, so I'm just gonna put a bunch in.
Hopefully getting this apart will be easier than last time.
There we go.
Whoa.
Okay.
Look at this. This is like,
That's
that looks
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Okay.
You know what? Not bad.
So ignoring the insane extra webbing that we'll have to cut off, we've got a really nice amount of detail on the back. And then on the bottom, just as good.
Yeah.
High five.
All right.
So while you trim that, is it okay if I peel all the clay off of this
Oh yeah.
plastic hand? I feel bad doing that. Like you spend all that time on it and then, well.
And then hopefully your mold comes out right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So now we gotta get it on to this. Is it gonna go on though?
Maybe.
Maybe. Only one way to find out.
Put it over these first.
I'll hold this and you try to stretch it over.
Okay. Oh, good.
Oh
my God.
It's gonna go.
Go in.
Oh.
Okay. Whew.
Wow, I didn't think that would work.
One more.
Oh, so close.
Go in. Whew. Okay.
Oh, I really didn't think that was gonna
didn't
work. I
either.
was worried. It's working. It's working. To get this ready for painting, we have to clean up the flashing around the edges. To do that, we're using a Dremel with just a little tiny, soft little wire bit. And that just works great for just very slowly and carefully taking off this edge. It's gonna take a while, but I'm gonna work my way through it. And we're just about ready to paint. One extra thing we did was glued to the top and like put a little extra latex on here to blend it in. I think it looks awesome. But we have a confession to make. We have 2 extra latex gloves.
So what happened? Well, this was the glove we originally had on the hand, and we first put it on, it moved fine. Got it all cleaned up, tested it again, no longer worked. It was like,
It was twitching like a zombie hand. So our theory was that it was too thick and we'd burned out the motor. We panicked for like 3 days and decided to pour some extra ones that were thinner. So this was 30 minutes. We poured a second one, which was 20 minutes. Same thing happened. It didn't
still
work
like
at all.
way too thick.
So now we're running out of time. So we're like, oh gosh, what do we do? So we poured a third glove, which was only 5 minutes. It's really, really thin. And it works.
Thank goodness.
This was almost one of those videos where we did all this stuff and then it didn't work at the end.
So now we have 2 extra gloves and we're gonna give them away. So if you want one, let us know in the comments and we'll pick 2 random people to send them to. So there's a bunch of different types of paint you can use to paint latex, but what I like to use is a mixture of interior house paint plus some latex with some water. To start off with, I'm gonna give it a light skin color, then I'm gonna add in a bunch of underpainting, some splatters of blues and reds and try and break up that skin texture. And then we'll go back in with some details and try and unify it all. final step is we have to put in all of the little stitches. Now I actually got surgical suture string and we tried it out, but it is so small and I don't think it's really gonna give us the impact that we're going for. So instead, what we're gonna do, this is electrical wire and we cut it into these little pieces to look like sutures and we're gonna glue each and every little one on.
Before we check out the final thing, we just want to say thank you for watching.
And if you like this project, we also have an Animatronic Wednesday doll and a ton of other animatronic makeovers.
Until next time, stay wicked.